is truly entertaining. Do you usually text during the podcast?
Always, I always
Okay.
text. Yeah.
He never pays attention to anything unless he's hearing himself talk. Moving on,
Wow.
the Bahamas. The Bahamas.
No one wants to hear you talk, Remko.
Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
You guys got cameras? You have a set here? I mean, somebody must be interested in having Remko talk.
Exactly. Hello and welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Poker Central
I didn't
Podcast.
even know we were
episode
starting.
173. It doesn't matter if you know or
damn
not.
it.
You never pay attention to what I say anyway.
I wasn't prepared.
Welcome
This
to the
is a
show.
treat.
Brent Hanks, as always, he is here because he has to be. Jeff Platt is here because he wants to be,
I want to be.
which is tremendous.
This is an honor.
We're so happy to have you.
Is that high five?
I hope
You're
so.
just a dap instead?
Oh,
Oh.
ooh, even
he
better.
Always,
Slide
he
him with
always
the
does that,
creeper.
Remko, when you
Oh.
go in for the dap and you're not thinking about it.
If you lick the
and you
hands
just-
first, give him a little, and
Yeah.
then give him the creeper. That's what you do.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Today
Good
on
to
the
be
show,
here.
we have Jeff Platt to talk about the Big Blind, now available on PokerGo. We'll dive into that and some of the funny shit that went down during that taping of that show.
Can you be quiet?
We will,
He's talking
can you
about
just
this
let me talk for a minute?
What are you talking about?
Also, we will dive into Super High Roll Bowl Bahamas, the PartyPoker Millions world, and Daniel Negreanu has signed with GGPoker, which I think is worth a few words. And I'm very concerned, by the way, about Mr. Brent Hanks. 3 coffees, a Monster Energy, and a bacon-covered maple donut. So you might have a heart attack in the middle of the show.
You ever heard of diabetes?
You probably have it.
100%.
Exactly.
Hey,
I'm
no
signing.
sugar in that monster, though.
Yeah, this is sugar.
You'll be
free.
totally fine.
Diabetes.
Totally
But the
fine.
list of ingredients is always very scary to me. But let's start.
If you're struggling at home with diabetes, call this number on the screen.
The drugs are kicking in right as we speak. Jeff, let's start with the Big Blind. And
Let's do it.
We'll try to keep it, a little serious for a tiny bit here because you have to explain.
Good luck with this gentleman.
I know. You have to explain the show and the premise and the idea behind
Sure.
it first before we get into the nonsense, which, of course, is what I'm most
Speaking of
interested in.
diabetes, Mike Mattisau was in the show. How great was that?
That was great. But do you want me to talk
Yes.
about Mattisau or
No, the
first
show,
explain
the
show?
concept, the idea, and let the people know why they should watch.
Sure, I'm going to lean on Remko for any questions about this. You feel free to mention any follow-up. So the best way that I like to explain it is that this is a game show that merges the traditional trivia concept with a poker tournament. So our players are not only...
Limit poker tournament.
Yes, limit hold'em. Thank you very much. I'll get into the betting structure later. So our players are not only answering trivia questions, but they're betting, they're raising, they're bluffing. It's such a unique concept, and I think our creator, John Bovenizer, who is
Shout
the
out.
producer of this podcast, that's the only
Can we get
reason
a
I'm
round
saying
of
nice
applause
things
for
John,
about
hey,
John
give us a
Bovenizer?
round.
Yeah, there we
John,
go,
while you're
John.
back there, will you just go ahead and edit in where it sounds like a lot of people are clapping and screaming and yelling? Come on, for John. Give it up one time. Yeah, John. And don't forget Boris the Blade.
The Blade is
He's
also
back
here.
there.
Dvoress, one of the best editors in all the land. So for John to come up with this idea, for Sam Simmons and Brent and the Poker Central the Poker Central team to greenlight this idea when it's a relatively unknown concept in the poker world, and we still don't know if anybody's going to watch. I mean, I hope that a lot of people watch.
It's
Please
gonna be
watch
a winner.
Monday, November 25th on PokerGo. I think it's a great show for the audience to follow along with. You don't just have contestants fighting for $30,000 in prize money,
Right.
but it's a show that you can tune in on if you're a casual poker fan or if you're a diehard, and you can play along with the contestants. And I think that it merges together so many great concepts that we've seen in game shows in the past, combined with our knowledge of the poker world. It just sets up perfectly for
You
PokerGo.
almost sort of like you brushed it a little bit, saying, "Oh, $30,000 up for grabs." This is fucking serious money for a game show about poker, which
For sure.
obviously we've never seen before. But also, I think the cool thing is, and we can speak to the people that were on the show, that they really, really cared, and they really, really were mad when things weren't going right.
That's a great point, because this really did get intense down the
Oh,
stretch.
man.
I feel like our first round matches were pretty entertaining. Sure, there was plenty of competition, but as we move into the quarterfinals and semifinals, and then our finals with real money up for grabs, especially because this is an invite-only free roll for our contestants. $0 to enter, $15K up top, $10K for second, $5K for third. It created a super competitive atmosphere, intense at times, and very entertaining at times as well.
Remarkably funny.
Yeah.
I would say that I'll go with 90% of the episodes. One of them was not as funny as the rest.
Okay.
But I'll go with
that's fair.
90%, yeah. Yeah, and you at home can decide if it was funny or not.
Let's run through some of these names that were on the show, because when I first saw the list of people that were going to play, I was kind of blown away by the amount of interest generated for this. And then, having been privileged to watch these episodes, I honestly thought they were hysterical in many ways, especially because of the way these lineups were constructed and these sort of underlying sentiments between a lot of these contestants and the history that they have.
I think whenever you can headline a list of contestants with Norm Macdonald, that's just naturally going to bring plenty of entertainment value to your show. But when you put people like Sarah Herring or Joey Ingram or Jamie Kerstetter, the Barstool guys, we not only were able to bring Barstool Nate and Barstool Smitty to the show,
we got PFT,
but we have PFT.
Man. Right.
I mean, that's big time. To have PFT on the show is huge. And again, I keep going back to that word entertainment, because that's what these contestants are able to bring to the table. The show thrives or does not thrive based on your contestants and the value that they bring to the table. And every single episode, starting with this Norm Macdonald, Chris Moneymaker, Justin Young show, is just an absolute treat. And as host, I could almost just sit back and relax and effectively let them run the show.
All right,
that'd be a bad idea.
Scott Venner, by the way, also a participant in the show.
And Alex Jacob.
Alex Jacob, former Jeopardy champion, also in the show. So think he had an advantage?
I think he definitely did, because the game show experience definitely
Shout out
helps.
Norman Chad, also in the show. We haven't mentioned his name yet.
The episode, I'm going to jump ahead in our calendar a little bit, but the episode with Norman Chad and Sarah Herring and Mike Mattisau is, I don't want to pick and choose one favorite, but this is one of my favorites for sure.
Is that because Norman Chad is such a miserable guy?
Yes. And to merge him with Mike Mattisau and with Sarah Herring, it's the perfect complement to all of them.
Right.
And
I wish
super
you
looking forward to
all,
y'all seeing
Jeff,
that.
you got to sort of live through this a lot, but myself and John, who put this entire show together, you should have seen what it was like trying to wrangle up the talent.
I mean, I know how hard it is for you to get a Poker After Dark lineup together.
I mean, just fucking incredible. There was so many watching Mike Mattisau or Norman Chad trying to figure out how to use a webcam and set up Skype. It was there was at one point where I was like, okay, let's just cancel.
That's it. Let's call it.
We can't do this to ourselves.
And
over and over and over again. And Joey Ingram, we're going to come over to your house in the morning. Well, morning for him is 4 in the afternoon. We're trying to finish up the fucking workday. And, oh, my goodness.
And I don't think Norman Chad knows how to exit out of a certain program.
Right.
Oh,
so
amazing.
when we're done with the show, you'll see Norman just kind of
He just
lingering.
is there.
Oh,
He's
He
there
just
the
assumes
entire
that
time.
you cut him off.
Right.
And
he
he's-
doesn't close any of his
he's-
browsers,
I mean,
so we just
you'll
would watch
see, he's
Norman
still
Chad
there.
at the end of every episode.
It's probably because he's used to going to the bar and having the bartender cut him off.
That's very possible.
And send him home.
Does he have a drinking problem?
Maybe. It would be funny if
Was
he
he
had one.
drinking before these shows? That would explain a lot.
Yeah, he probably was.
Yeah.
He definitely seemed hammered.
One thing I want to reference, and I know this clip exists, and we need to roll it. Norm Macdonald, his genius, his sort of temper during the show, which also kind of showed his eagerness to win. So let's roll the clip of Norm, because I thought that was fantastic stuff.
Hello, everyone, and welcome in to the PokerGO studio. This is the Big Blind. That category is Vegas Tunes. Norm, you're on the button. You can raise, call, or fold.
Can you explain the category?
Norm, you're a big Doyle Brunson fan, right?
I don't know who that is. That Todd's dad? Oh, geez. I'm sorry, Jeff, but is this the final? I don't know when the end is.
This is the final hand of the first level, but we have an additional level after this with 3 more hands at higher stakes, and then we still have our video finale.
Still amazing. Yeah. He wins 1 of 4 that he gets.
What are you eating, Norm?
Oh. I just wanted to, give a casino vibe to the joint. Hey, you told me I'm still in it.
You are. You're still in it.
Okay.
You're
Just not this question.
Yeah, you're just not in this specific hand. As we move on to the turn,
Wait,
That's you're out of
asked. Oh, no. Oh.
you're just out on this hand, Norm. That's it.
But I asked, I said, can I get more questions? That's what I said. I didn't say hand.
Right, you will.
You're gonna lose. You'll get the next hand.
Just
you
not,
just missed the
just
flop,
not
turn it
this
over.
specific next question, Norm.
No, I'm just filled with fury. That's all I am. Motherfucker.
All right, Jeff, provide some context towards
Yeah.
what we just saw.
So we mentioned it earlier. We expect Norm Macdonald to just be absolutely hilarious, this entertaining character. This guy has quite the competitive side, right? And he wants to win so badly. And in speaking with him before the show, we kind of sensed this. And Brent, he's told us about his poker hands and his poker tournaments. And this is a guy that gets pretty pissed off when he loses a
Not
poker
only
tournament.
was he so pissed off, but we spent, following the episode, obviously we won't reveal who won
Sure.
or lost, but after we finished filming, called Norm Macdonald on the phone, and we spent, I would say, a good hour with him on speakerphone, talking to all 4 of us in the room about why he was so angry, what he was
Because-
pissed off about,
Right.
some sort of, which you'll see it in the episode. You can sort of see it in the clip that
Exactly.
we just rolled out, but he was upset that Jeff had properly and fairly told him that he was no longer a part of this specific question.
Oh, right.
He wasn't eliminated. He just simply folded his hand, if
Right,
you will.
yeah.
And he didn't quite understand what that meant, and he was so furious. He never let it go.
I saw him walking off, too.
Yeah, you see that storm
yeah.
off and he throws the headphones down, and you'll be entertained by when that actually takes place, I
Oh my
guess I
God.
should say.
One last note, too, because I know we have another clip I want to show Mike Matisow. There's a clip of here. Actually, let's roll it. Let's roll that clip real quick with Mike Matisow, and then I want to touch on one thing there that happened there.
Check. I know the answer.
Mike is going to check over to Norman Chad. Norman, you can check her bet.
He said, I know the answer, and he checked?
I do believe
What
so.
type of ruse is that? Can he check raise me?
Absolutely, he can.
I'm going to open the door up for him to check raise me. I bet you lowlight.
So that was Matisow, and I heard there was some controversy brewing there.
Okay, so let me a couple things I want to make very clear. We had excellent security.
Yeah.
So we
Right.
had sort of team viewer rolling on everything, so we could monitor if anyone was opening any browsers. You could see the entire room location. You weren't allowed to be, by the way, in a room with anybody else.
Right.
Which is where things got a little bit murky with Mike.
Was there eyeline?
We do a practice
movement?
round,
Right.
to kick things off, make sure the tech is functioning properly. And one of the practice rounds, the questions threw Mike into a bit of a ringer. And you notice his eyes drift off camera and sort of like this, just down, watch an arm roll in, and the presence of a shadow
A little Mike
creeps
Postle.
in as well. And what do you
We have even more evidence.
what do you know? We call him out and say, Mike, it looks like maybe are you alone in the room? Can you just flash us around the camera? I shit you not. He grabs his camera, and you won't see this in the show. It's practice. He turns the camera, and scurrying off to the back of the house, the back of the corner, is his girlfriend.
Oh, my God.
And she had slipped in an answer to a question, gave it to him, so he got the answer correct. I think it was the coffee shop in Friends.
So cheating on practice rounds.
Cheating in the fucking practice round, man.
Wow.
That's what Matisow was up to. And he just laughed and giggled. And again, want to clarify, security was tight. Did not happen for the duration
actual
of the show.
game show, security is tight. For the practice rounds, a little looser. But like
It was
Brent said,
incredible.
we noticed something, and I have to be the go-between of sorts between our producers, Brent and John, and our security team in the back, and these contestants. So I don't know how many times I had to ask Mike to show us around the room. But,
Oh my
but
God.
Please
trust
pan
us,
the room, Mike. We need to make sure there's no one in here.
We made sure that everything was good.
All right, buttoning up this topic, watch this every Monday and Friday,
Yeah.
starting on November 25th, all the way through the final on January 6th. Even if you miss a few, get caught up quickly, and then, of course, the final on January 6th with $15K up top for the winner. All right, moving into actually.
How do you do this every week?
I don't know. I really don't know. I need a raise, by the way. I need a raise. Moving into some serious stuff. You guys both.
Oh, great. Serious stuff.
Serious
Good time.
stuff. Yeah.
One more time.
Brent, you can now leave.
No.
You can leave.
Let's get
Yeah.
real serious
Yeah.
for a minute. What are we going to now?
Super high rollerball Bahamas.
Yes.
We
Oh,
lost
all
it
right.
a couple times.
In this-
during that tournament also.
In this very room, atrocious.
Right there.
Yeah, some horrible crimes were committed at this table on the on the voiceover for that show.
Oh, yeah, this much is true.
Can I just start by actually saying one of the most positive things I've ever said in my life? I love working with Jeff Platt.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I
Thank
do.
you.
I
Thank
love
you.
it.
Right back
For
at you,
moments
man.
like
Feeling
that,
is
we
mutual.
just sort of
Yeah.
lose it from time to time.
Can we get a heart around them?
Yeah, I love work. Can we? Yeah, just give me
Like-
a heart. Just
like-
the two of us.
Like
yeah.
a Snapchat filter or
you.
something. Super Hard Rollable Bahamas, 51 entries, 250K buy-in, a stacked field,
Yeah.
a highly intriguing final table, and tons of
Absolutely.
great play.
Can I just chime in one
Can
more
you
time?
shut up for 1 second?
I absolutely.
waiting for Remko to lose it.
absolutely
There it is.
hate working with Remko Rinkema.
That's fine.
Can we just get a?
This is not.
What's the opposite of a heart? Sort of just flames burning.
I don't
and
see
put
this
his
as
face
work
in it.
either. This
Anyway.
is for me. This is charity. It's like that. It's like bring
Pro bono
Yeah,
work
pro
for
bono
him.
work.
Can we
It's
keep
charity.
going with these serious topics, please?
Yeah, for
I don't
sure.
know why you have to just get us off topic every time.
Bahamas, Jeff.
Yes.
This was a stacked event, massive
Absolutely,
prize pool,
yeah.
$4 million up top. What stands out the most to you now thinking back?
Well, let me turn it on you. How many times have you watched that Kathy Laney bad beat?
I can't watch it.
Where she gets
it makes
in
me
with
sick.
aces against Weilong Chan's sixes. And, for her to become the first woman to cash in a super high rollerball event, for her to have a legitimate shot at winning the whole thing. And Remko, you said it, that final table was full of stone cold killers.
Right.
She holds there. You never know, folks. She could have won this event. She trapped him. She played it perfectly. 6-ball on the river. You could hear Brent and I on the call. We try not to show any bias, and you could hear we were just
You are
we
biased.
were
absolutely
defeated.
crushed.
Yeah,
Right.
It was devastating.
Dvoress opens on the button. Laney with aces in the small blinds.
Here we go.
Chan does shove. Dvoress will get out of the way. Laney will snap call with the aces. So far, so good for Kathy Laney. Just needs to dodge one of 2 remaining sixes to double up. Oh, and
my
the
goodness.
Sorry, good.
Out in third for almost $1.8 million. Now, with that said, we don't see a lot of Daniel Dvoress in the States, of course, because
Right.
he resides in Canada. There are all these tax issues here. The performance that he put on over the course of 3 days was really impressive. The way he's able to stay so even-keeled after taking a couple horrible beats himself, I was just thoroughly impressed by his performance. He's certainly a worthy super high rollerball champion.
Sort of for at least for me, Remko, I'm sure you know.
Are you being
he is
serious
because
now?
You're foreign, but it was sort of my first glance, my first peek at Daniel Dvoress and his skill set on full display. You don't have a lot of footage of him that's out there. He only had one first place result coming into this super high rollerball final table. He won. Jeff and I laughed about this. He had one first place finish at PCA in 2018, a 6-player field. He won a $25K, good for $73,000. I
Beautiful.
think some sort of deal must have been made. But yeah, that was it. And then all of a sudden now, he wins Super High Rollerball Bahamas for $4 million. And by the way, he just followed that up by taking down a $25K short deck event last night.
Did he
good for
really?
another $375,000. So just shy of $4.5 million with 2 first place down there in the Bahamas.
He told us after the win that he had never been more prepared for a single tournament in his life than this event, and he felt as though that preparation really helped him day to day going through this event. And also he said that while he has been focusing mostly on short deck, this was for him a really big anchor point to prepare for that he really put a lot of time and energy into. And I think it really showed that he was ready for whatever was coming his way.
Yeah, it makes sense. When you get that kind of field, when you're prepared for that kind of field, to put in months of preparation doesn't surprise any of us. And remember, he was on his second bullet.
Oh, yeah.
So not only did he take some bad beats at the final table, but he was busto from this tournament. Jumps right back in. Again, I don't think I could be more impressed with this guy.
2 other things I want to point out that I thought were remarkable from that final table was the full-on display skill set of Jason Kuhn.
Yep.
Yeah.
Came in second in chips and could not have run any fucking worse from the beginning of play to finally his elimination. And then the way he handled it with nothing but class. He wished everyone good luck, and he wanted them all to finish in first place. I genuinely think he meant that. And then secondly, my spirit animal, Eric Seidel, making his 3rd super high rollerball final table and showing how much his game has truly evolved from 2015 when he made his first super high rollerball final table. He's taken a little time off. We haven't seen much from Seidel in the high roller scene, so it's nice to have him back. By the way, side note, Justin Bonomo, he was at that final table. His 4th super high rollerball final table and already has 2 victories.
And on Bonomo's resume, this is a small score. That goes to show how much money he's won over the years. It is really, really insane that you can tell a story name by name, place by place about these players. But Wai Long Chan is someone that hardly anyone between the fans, really know. What do you take away from watching him play for many, many hours?
Yeah, Jeff, what do you take away?
Listen, all of these guys who play in this event are just absolute sickos.
Right.
But there's no doubting that he ran super hot at that final table.
Which is fine.
Yeah, that happens. I mean, you got to run well to win a tournament.
Right.
We all know that. You even won a tournament.
Ran pretty fucking hot. With Chan, to sort of back you up there, too, I found his resume remarkable, Remko. 2011, he had a first-place finish on there, and I don't know what the fuck happened, but in 2011, first-place finish in an APT event for $7,000.
Okay.
Fast forward to now, 8 years later, and all he plays are 25K plus events. Whatever business he owned, whatever fucking crypto involvement he's got, my goodness, unless he just spun it up out in the cash game streets, unless we've never heard of this guy in cash games, no idea where he came from, how connected he is to this poker world, but his results speak for themselves. He's truly a talented player and incredible finish.
One of the hands that you mentioned, Brent, that we have to bring up, obviously the Kathy Laney hand, the bad beat. We've obviously seen a clip of that, and everybody knows about that. But a hand maybe not as well known, but equally intriguing, was the hand between Dvoress and Jason Koon, where Dvoress basically flops the world without making a hand, and then Koon has a set. Brent, walk us through that hand quickly and why it was so impressive for Koon to check on the river.
Oh, my goodness. So I'm actually about to tweet this hand. I've been trying to get it to work because it's not out there anywhere.
Right.
Unless you watch Super High Rollable Bahamas, you don't know what this hand is. So we'll roll that clip for you here. Actually, you know what? Let's roll it real quick.
Right.
Can we show that hand?
Yeah, for sure.
All right, let's roll it real quick, and then we'll dive back in.
There are ICM implications in play. Or started with 1.9. There are a couple stacks shorter than his.
He will make the call. The river is the 5 of diamonds. Dvoress gets there.
And how to proceed.
Oh, it's an insane spot for chips to shove. But
yeah, he does check it back. That's brilliant from Jason Koon. He's going to lose this pot, but lose the minimum.
Amazing.
This hand happened, I want to say, Jeff, correct me if I'm wrong, inside for sure the first 10 hands of the day.
Yeah.
So this sort of set the tone going forward.
With Koon second and chips.
Yeah, with Koon second and chips, with over 100 big blinds or right around 100 big blinds, somewhere in that. Very deep. Dvoress sort of in the middle of the pack. But this set the tone going forward. Dvoress eventually winning. Koon continued to run like shit and bowing out. The remarkable sequence and occurrence in this hand was that Jason Koon flops a set on Ace-Jack-8 with 2 diamonds. Dvoress has Queen-10 of diamonds. He has a gut shot straight, a two-way, I should say, double-gutted straight draw and a flush draw. It went Dvoress check, call, a bet on the flop. Dvoress check, call, a bet on the turn. And then Dvoress checks on the river when he makes his flush. All the money in the world out there. Jason Koon knuckles back a set of 8s. I'm telling you right now, maybe it doesn't sound great. Maybe it didn't look great after rolling the footage, but being there in the moment, involved with the hand, you can hear Jeff and I breaking this thing down. This is a layup value bet on the river. And Jason Koon, to just acknowledge what a sick and twisted spot this was, to me, this is top shelf. This is why I think Jason Koon might be the best to do it.
Wow, I love that. And I made the claim that Sam Soverell might be the best, so maybe I have to rewrite that article and include Jason Koon in there.
It is, and I want to stay right there for a second. Whenever these new age concepts or tutorial or verbiage comes along, it starts somewhere, right? These high level concepts are starting somewhere. It has to go through someone's mind. It has to circulate in conversation, and eventually it reaches a bunch of drizzlers like me, yourself, and clearly Jeff.
Yeah.
So it starts
in that order.
And I think it's a guy like Jason Koon and his inner circle, whether it's Ben Tollerine, Isaac Haxton, these guys are at the very top of the poker food chain.
Right.
And it works its way down. So all these high-level concepts, that's where it begins. So seeing something like that, watching a hand like that unfold, and then eventually us sort of trying to figure out how and why that takes place, to me, it's fascinating.
And Remko, allow me to nerd out for a second just to jump on top of Brent's point. You know, on so many occasions nowadays, we see so many down bets, really tiny bets on the flop. We haven't seen Justin Bonomo and Isaac Haxton for a while, for a couple months. And for the most part, when we saw these guys, their C-bets on the flop were significantly larger sizing than the rest of the field. It's like they went back into the lab.
Right.
You know, Brent says, here we go with all these high-level concepts. They're like, well, what can we do differently that might be more efficient, that might make things more productive for us? You know, that's a very simple way of stating it, like small bets versus big bets. I know there's a reason behind every single thing they're doing, but it was just kind of cool to witness after seeing these bets tiny. Oh, Bonomo and Haxton go much bigger in these spots.
Dude, that's a great point. That's a trendsetter sort of movement
Yeah.
right there. And depending on the texture, depending
Big
on the
blind
stack
play,
depth.
like
Right.
the game is constantly evolving, which to me, and I'm sure you guys agree, just makes it so much fun to cover.
And this means that I'll be checking back all my sets going forward because that's
Obviously,
clearly
yeah.
how the new strategy is working. But it is fun to follow that as well. And I think it's also the beauty of a live stream that takes you from start to finish, where you can see the play progress and
Yes.
develop, and you not only see the sort of end result where it's 20 bigs and people are all in and there's fun showdowns and stuff happening. But if you really pay attention and if you happen to have good commentators, a little bit like Jeff and Brent, but I don't want to give them too much
Little
credit. Then you can really learn something from these events. So make sure to catch this final table as well as day 1 and day 2 coverage on demand on PokerGo. Make yourself some popcorn, maybe a beverage or two, and sit through this and learn from these guys, because that is honestly like watching the highest level of sports, where you can sort of take away things from how people do it, and that, I think that's a beautiful thing.
And it's from the very beginning, that's the difference between our coverage of Super High Roller Bowl versus our coverage of the Poker Masters. Our Poker Masters final tables are so much fun to watch.
Exactly.
But they're 2-day events. They're set up as turbos. Guys want to win this one and then just be on to the next one. So those final tables play out differently. Sure, there's room for sick play, and we've seen plenty of sick play throughout our Poker Masters final tables. But to be able to catch these guys from day 1 when they're just so deep, and just the insanity, the creativity that goes into some of these plays is truly entertaining. Do you usually text during the podcast?
Always, I always
Okay.
text. Yeah.
He never pays attention to anything unless he's hearing himself talk. Moving on,
Wow.
the Bahamas. The Bahamas.
No one wants to hear you talk, Remko.
Well, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching.
You guys got cameras? You have a set here? I mean, somebody must be interested in having Remko talk.
Exactly. The Super High Roller Bowl Bahamas has wrapped up, but as you are watching this, the PartyPoker Millions Worlds 2019 Bahamas main event,
That was good.
longest name humanly possible, is still underway. Final table, of course, coming up real soon, depending on when you catch this. But this is also a highly intriguing event. Last year, $2 million up top. This is one of the biggest main events of the year. It is a single re-entry 10K event. Honestly, I think it's brilliant how we now have all this content on PokerGo. The PartyPoker deal, obviously, tremendous for that. Brent, a 10K single re-entry getting a $2 million first prize, does that mean that PartyPoker has sort of unlocked the future of big main events? As for a long time, it was 5Ks, 10Ks, freeze-outs, unlimited re-entries. Now we're back to single re-entries. Do you think this is the method going forward?
I hope so. I think the single re-entry makes a lot of sense, and I know that we've learned a lot from our own events going forward.
Right.
What is incredible is the massive guarantee.
Oh, my
And
God.
you put that guarantee in an exotic location such as the Bahamas, people will show up, people will play. Props to Rob Young, the entire crew over there at Party Poker Live that are just doing it right.
Yeah.
Well, you also don't get walk-ins in the Bahamas, right?
True.
Like in Vegas, if you put on a 10K, you'll get some, what would you call them, drizzlers?
Yeah, the Drizzlers.
Yeah, you-
stragglers?
Sort of-
You get some stragglers who'd be like, oh, cool, 10K is going on. I'll hop in, I'll fire, that sounds good. But nobody who's vacationing in the Bahamas will walk across a 10K poker tournament. So that just goes to show you how bold Party is being in setting these huge guarantees. And they're guarantees that don't always hit. They didn't hit last year.
Right.
And they're going for it again with another $10 million guarantee. And I
How
think
close
that's
are they
very
right now? Can we
respectable.
tell?
It's hard to say because day 1B is underway right now. They need a lot more
And then
entries.
they have the single re-entry.
Single
obviously,
re-entry,
yeah.
and they-
Re-entry at the
and
beginning of day 2, I think.
They
or
have the
register
online
there.
players that are moving
Oh,
into
right,
day
which
2,
I love
day 2
also.
as well. Yeah.
And I think they've perfected that structure almost.
What did I read about another promotion where if you are the day 1A chip leader, you get an additional $1 million if you win the event?
Correct.
Is that
They're
also
online?
happening right now?
Yeah, that is happening right now.
I
So,
think that's for their Millions online
for the
main event
online
in
only?
December.
So it's not
And
this
so-
event.
Oh.
Correct. It is
Okay.
not this event. And if you're day 1A chip leader and you go on to win the tournament, not only do you get a first place prize of probably a couple $1 million,
You get
but
$1 million
get an
on
additional
top.
$1
A little cherry on top.
Yeah,
Yeah.
how's that
Isn't
for a
that what?
cherry on top?
It's
I
wild.
remember a promotion that Full Tilt Poker did back in the day. If you final tabled,
That was $10 million.
yeah, if you final tabled
No, if you qualified
And
on
won.
if you qualified on full tilt and won, you got an extra $10 million.
$10 million.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if you won your satellite seat on Full Tilt, won the main event, $10
Well,
million.
they had all
on
the
top.
money.
My God. Well, had.
That's absolutely insane. I'm not going to bore you guys with chip counts or any sort of names from this event because it's, of course, developing as we are taping this podcast. But please check out the Poker Central live reporting if you want to get caught up, and also know that it's all available on demand on PokerGo in case you're watching this at a later time.
You didn't get to go to the Bahamas?
I know. I'm stuck in the U.S., the land of the free. I'm stuck here for a while, but more on that at a time where we have nothing to talk about. one final thing here on the show that I want to tackle real quick. Brent, put your phone down, first of all.
No, go ahead. I'm listening.
Second of all,
really
what do you make of Daniel Negreanu signing with GGPoker?
I think it is tremendous. From what I understand, GGPoker is just doing it right. Mm-hmm. We have a lot to learn about what this sort of company is going to offer perhaps United States customers.
Right.
If anything, I don't know. At the moment, we're shut out. But what I can tell you about GGPoker is that right now is the current home for the majority of high rollers.
Yep.
So if you were to log into that site, from what I understand, they are running anywhere from 6 to 10 25K buy-in high rollers a day.
Wow.
A day.
That's sick.
You're talking 5 to 7 days a week. That's how many they're running. And players that are frequent flyers that we just saw in Super High Roller Bowl, Poker Masters, U.S. Poker Open, etc. That's where these guys are all playing when they're not traveling internationally. Even if they are traveling, they can bust a tournament live, go settle down online, and they can be rest assured that a 25K high roller online is going to happen. So that, to me, already is clearly indicating that GGPoker is a market that is available for a plethora of players.
Right.
Clearly, they have tons of promotions, which Daniel talked about, that is significant for a drizzler like yourself, Remko.
Yep.
And then it also offers a tremendous opportunity with huge prize pools for a lot of these super high rollers as well.
Wait and see on what this brings and whether they're going to venture into the live sphere, whether they're going to offer also more lower stakes. I think that Daniel as an ambassador is probably the best play you could make to get recreational players involved in your brand. I wonder how this is going to play out in the USA. A lot of questions.
It's a good sign for how it will play out in the USA. I'd be surprised if Daniel entered this kind of deal if they told him, yeah, we just don't see the US in the future.
Right.
Sorry, we're just not interested. So I think it's a good sign for all of us in the US that he's signing on with them. And listen, as more and more states legalize sports betting, we've been through this 1,000 times,
Yep.
more and more states will eventually legalize online poker. Will it be a federal law? Doubtful, but maybe in the future. But can you get 15 states all playing together? I think that's a very realistic possibility.
Just give us California.
That's
Just
the
give us
dream.
California.
That is the dream. It's one other point there, too. We're noticing poker stars, right, cutting ties with, of course, Daniel, who we mentioned. I saw Maria Konnikova. She's gone today. Is that how you say her name?
Yeah, and Liv and Igor.
Liv and Igor, they're gone. Everyone's done with poker stars. Essentially, poker stars doesn't need all of these ambassadors in order for their business to thrive, and that is just fine. They're printing money over there.
Yeah, for sure.
The fact that GGPoker stepped in and said, okay, well, you know what?
Door's open.
Door is open. It's time for us to rise inside this poker world. We're here for you guys. We're here for the players. And they sign the number one force to be reckoned with, the number one ambassador for this game, Daniel Negreanu. That is a great sign for poker to come.
I'm sure we'll have Daniel on the show pretty soon. We have a lot to discuss with him in general. He's had quite an interesting last couple of months.
You were at a hockey game with him last night, weren't
It
you?
was tremendous.
How'd that go? Who won?
Got the old invite.
Yeah.
Wow.
Against the Leafs. Obviously, I lived in Toronto for quite a few years, so I was wearing the Toronto sweater with the Golden Knights hat. Daniel was wearing the Knights jersey with the Maple Leafs hat. We had a lot of people coming up to us.
That's his old team,
joking
too,
around.
right?
Yeah. We were both saying, this would be the perfect Stanley Cup final if these two teams meet, but the Leafs
And Fleury had the save of the fucking decade, right?
Wow. Insane save. I've never seen anything like that before. Superman-like,
Wow.
absolutely.
Pretty terrible seats.
I'm sad you couldn't. Yeah, it was rough.
Was
to
it rough?
see. Yeah, I had to squint a few times.
Right.
At the end of the day, though, it was a tremendous experience. If you are ever in Vegas, go to a Knights
Would have loved
game.
to have joined.
With Daniel
my
Negreanu.
first night with
He'll
the
invite
family.
you.
Yeah, I mean, where were you? I heard you.
No, spaghetti night.
Spaghetti night?
Spaghetti night with the fam.
Do you cook spaghetti?
And my wife does.
I
help out.
What do you cook outside of the meat?
Pretty much more of a meats guy, although I might make the best grilled cheese combo sandwich that you've ever had. I can throw a little brisket on there, grilled
let's
cheese,
do it.
little tomato.
Let's make magic
It is
happen,
a variety of cheeses. Even the bread. You have to do the bread right.
Yeah.
I'll even sort of crisp a little cheese on both sides, butter. So it's a cheesy bread with cheese on the inside, a little brisket, sometimes a little smoked turkey. Oh, my God.
People, this is the living evidence of what a lifestyle like that does to a human body, because Brent Hanks...
60 pounds later.
60 pounds
A lot
later.
of grilled cheese,
and you're
a
not
lot
done.
of smoked
You're
meats.
not done.
Oh, I'm just getting started.
It's like linear.
Just
too.
getting
It's
started.
just going straight up. All right, Brent, the fans. that reached out.
Yes.
Shout out to them.
Yeah.
Please keep in touch with us, podcast at Poker Central. Keep leaving those reviews. And then I want to give a shout out to Roy and his friends, and we'll check out the photo right now. They are from the Netherlands. They run a poker site there. They're huge fans of PokerGo, huge fans of Poker After Dark. They reached out to me. They said, can we get a tour of the studio? And I was like, yeah, of course. So I gave them some swag. I showed them table 1. I talked to my connections at the Aria. I basically just barged in, and I hoped that they wouldn't kick me out. Took a photo of them sitting at the table, which is really cool. I gave them the studio tour. I managed to find the light switch after calling Maury because the place was really dark. There was nothing happening inside. It's very strange seeing it with no action and no drape and
it was
nothing.
pitch black.
It was completely black.
Yeah,
There was nothing.
wow.
And also, like, the table wasn't even set up because they just had an esports event in there. So, but it was really cool to show them what goes down inside the studio. So another shout out to them. Thanks for being a supporter. And if you are one of those fans listening or watching right now, please reach out because we can give you similar treatment until the hoodies run out and until I run out of gas, because I'll happily drive to the studio to give you guys a tour. So podcast at Poker Central. Please keep reaching out. Brent, order of business here to wrap the show up. The Poker Masters. We did a little bit of fantasy action here, and I'm sure we're going to do more of this because we had a lot of fun doing it. But can you get us up to speed on who managed to do it?
Okay, so running through this order of business, Eric Nelson, I'm going to start right there.
Yeah.
He listened to last week's podcast, and he acknowledged that he did, in fact, completely fuck up his team. He over-budgeted his squad, which eliminates Eric Nelson's team from contention. He should have been the winner. The only player out of the hundreds of teams that were submitted, he's the only player that had Sam Soverel. How is that? Wow. How is that real?
What in the world? The high roller of the year, the reigning defending,
Right.
undisputed high roller of the year.
Sam Soverel was only selected by Eric Nelson. If anyone else had selected Sam Soverel, they would have won.
Exactly.
But no one did, which led us down to our...
Somebody picked your at Remko.
I did too.
Yeah, that's probably just Remko's burner account on Twitter. So the winner, and I want to congratulate you, is John Lee Hart.
There we go.
The winning team of Sean Winter, Christoph the Tractor Vogelsang, Keith Knuckles Tilston, Chance Cornath, and Benjamin Pollock.
Only 2 players got points
Only 2 players got
Right.
points.
Only
You're
2
the
players
winning team
showed.
with 1,110 points. Now, here's my issue, Remko.
Oh,
John Lee Hart, thank you, by the way. You submitted your team on Twitter. You did all that correctly. What you didn't do, John Lee Hart, is you did not leave a review on iTunes.
Oh, boy.
You did not give us what we need in exchange to give you the great grand prize that I want to send you. I want to connect with you. I want to give you that prize. However, I need to see that review, John Lee Hart. Show it to me. Show me the goods.
Wow.
Leave that review. You're going to get your prize.
You're in
Until that happens, I'm going to wear the swag. I'm going to give Jeff some swag, and Remko
Take some swag.
won't fit in it. But he's going to look at us wearing that swag.
Remko looks great.
I'm like
The guy's
40 pounds lighter than you at this point.
Probably
but,
more.
But what I'm mostly concerned about is that the swag that's going to be sent to you will be worn by Brent Hanks until he sends it over, and he's not going to wash it. So
Directly off of my body.
Exactly.
Remko tells me he's getting in a little personal training every
Yeah.
week.
You
He's
have a
in the
trainer?
gym.
I have a trainer, yeah.
Jesus Christ, Remko.
I'm trying to...
Are you all right? Are you going through something? Are you in crisis mode again?
No, this is the opposite. This is me doing well. I'm going to the gym.
I don't think you're
I'm
doing
eating
well.
healthy.
Good.
No.
I'm not swigging on whatever the long list
Something-
of ingredients
Okay,
is.
watch your mouth, Remko.
Something's
Those
wrong with
drinks
you.
are gold.
The fact that you're still alive is also a miracle. You live on deli meats and granola bars. Or
Well,
protein
yeah, and
bars.
some protein
Sounds
bars. Yeah.
delicious.
Right? What's wrong with that?
Sounds amazing,
It's
actually, yeah.
absolutely
I don't know how
amazing.
that's sustainable.
Some fresh turkey from
How long have we been
Smith's?
doing this show?
Way
It's gotta
too
be-
long.
Let's
Yeah.
end it, please.
End it.
Fucking end it.
End it. All right. Thank you guys all so much for listening and watching. If you are watching, know that you can catch this also on your podcast feed. If you are listening, know that this is also available on PokerGo every single week. And with that, for Brent Hanks and Jeff Platt.
Hey, shout out to Jeff Platt and Poker News, by the way. Jeff Platt is over there with Sarah Herring. They do the Poker News podcast. Don't give them any reviews, but go give them a listen.
Okay, that's fair. Thank you very much.
That's pretty
Great to
fair,
be with
actually.
you guys.
That's pretty fair,
Love you
actually.
all very much.
Coming from Brent. All right. Thanks so much for listening and watching. We'll catch you guys next week.